Chosen one, heaven has just pulled back the veil over your life. What was hidden in the dark? What was developing in silence? What was growing beneath the surface is now stepping into undeniable light. This is not a slow unveiling or a gradual reveal. This is sudden, abrupt, decisive. The season of concealment has ended, and the season of emergence has begun. Your purpose has shifted from hidden to visible, from dormant to activated, from questioned to confirmed. Even as you read these words, heaven is repositioning you, aligning circumstances, people, and timing to bring you into what was prepared long before you knew it existed. The assignment you have been carrying quietly, the calling you wrestled with in the dark, the mission you doubted when no one else could hear your questions, it is about to emerge. And when it does, you will no longer recognize the limitations that once defined you, the boundaries that constrained you, the labels that tried to shrink you, the fears that whispered you were unqualified, are losing their authority. What God is releasing in this moment will stretch you beyond who you've been and introduce you to who you were always meant to become. This is why it's crucial that you stay with this message until the very end, because we are not just going to talk about purpose, we are going to pray, activate, and seal this word over your life. If something in your spirit is stirring right now, if you feel a weight, a pull, a quiet urgency, you can't fully explain, that is not coincidence. That is recognition. That is heaven bearing witness to what is already inside you. When you type the word purpose in the comments, you are not engaging casually. You are declaring alignment. You are agreeing with what God is initiating. You are stepping into community with others who are also being called out of hiding and into divine acceleration. You were never meant to walk this path alone. Here's the truth you need to hear clearly. What you thought was delay was actually preparation. What felt like stagnation was alignment in progress. God did not forget you. He did not overlook you. He did not pass you by. What you are stepping into required more than talent. It required character. More than skill, it required surrender. More than anointing, it required alignment. And now the preparation has reached its fullness. The waiting season has done its work. The concealment has served its purpose. The moment of emergence is here, and it is happening now. What you experienced as confusion was never confusion at all. It was concealment working exactly as it was designed to. There are seasons where God does not explain himself, not because he is distant, but because explanation would expose what still needs protection. You questioned your direction, your timing, even your worth, not realizing that heaven was intentionally keeping you hidden. This was not neglect. This was strategy. God was not delaying you. He was defending you. He was guarding what he planted, protecting what he was growing, and shielding you from exposure before you were ready to carry the weight of what is coming next. You must understand this clearly. Being hidden does not mean being forgotten. It means being preserved. The world equates visibility with value, but heaven does the opposite. God often hides what is most valuable because premature exposure destroys potential. The reason you felt overlooked, bypassed, or unseen was not because you lacked importance, it was because you carried significance. What God hides, the enemy cannot access. What God conceals, the world cannot corrupt. And what God protects in secrecy, he reveals in power at the appointed time. Let me help you see what has truly been happening beneath the surface. Picture a seed buried deep in the ground. It is surrounded by darkness. It feels pressure from every side. Nothing about its environment suggests progress. If that seed had a voice, it might say, "I'm stuck. I'm going nowhere. I've been abandoned." But the truth is the exact opposite. That seed is not stagnant, it is germinating. It is being strengthened by resistance. It is being nourished by unseen nutrients. Everything happening in the dark is preparing it for a breakthrough that will shatter the surface. And when it emerges, it does not come up fragile, it comes up rooted. That is where you have been, hidden, pressured, questioning why others seemed to advance while you remained unseen, wondering why your gifts were not recognized, why doors did not open, why your calling felt delayed. But chosen one, you were not behind, you were beneath, beneath the surface, beneath the noise, beneath the reach of the enemy. God was doing a deep work before he ever allowed a public one, because what you are carrying cannot survive shallow ground. Scripture confirms this reality with precision and authority. Colossians 3 declares, "For you died, and your life is now hidden with Christ in God." Hidden with Christ. Not abandoned, not ignored, not misplaced. Hidden with Christ means secure. It means covered. It means untouchable. When your life is hidden with Christ, the enemy cannot sabotage what he cannot see. Jealousy cannot steal what God has concealed. Opposition cannot destroy what heaven is protecting. Your hiddenness was never rejection, it was divine protection. And now the protection is shifting into revelation. Because there comes a moment when what has been hidden must be unveiled not for your ego, but for assignment. This emergence is not about personal success or self promotion, it is about impact. It is about shifting atmospheres, breaking generational patterns, and establishing kingdom authority in spaces that have been held captive for far too long. And before God releases that level of influence through you, he must first settle the most important issue of all your identity. What is happening right now is that God is unveiling who you really are, not who people said you were, not who circumstances convinced you to become, not who trauma shaped you into for survival. God is stripping away every false layer and revealing the original design, the version of you that existed in his mind before the world ever touched you, the version of you that existed before rejection, before failure, before disappointment tried to rewrite your story. Jeremiah 1:5 reveals a truth that dismantles every identity crisis at its root. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you. Before formation came knowledge. Before birth came separation. Before assignment came appointment. Your identity was not formed on earth, it was established in heaven. Long before you questioned your purpose, God had already defined it. Long before you doubted your worth, God had already determined your value. This means something critical. You are not what they called you. You are not the label spoken over you in anger, ignorance, or insecurity. You are not what shame tried to brand you as. You are not what failure convinced you that you had become. Those were temporary voices speaking into a season of concealment, but they were never authorized to define you. God alone names what he creates, and his word over you has not changed. You are chosen. You are called. You are set apart. You are anointed. You are appointed for an assignment that no one else can fulfill in the way you were designed to fulfill it. But here is where many people miss their breakthrough. They hear this truth, they agree with it intellectually, but they continue living according to an old identity and practice. They accept the unveiling in theory, but they rehearse the old script in real life. They hear God say, "You are chosen," yet they keep acting like they are disqualified. They receive the word, "You are anointed," yet they continue moving as if they are inadequate. They are told They are set apart, but they keep trying to fit into spaces God already outgrew for them. And God is saying, stop agreeing with who you were. Stop rehearsing what I already healed. Stop living from labels I already removed. The emergence God is initiating will not complete if you continue partnering with lies. Heaven may unveil your true identity, but you must accept it. You must wear it. You must walk in it, because identity is not just revealed, it is embodied. And the question you must confront honestly is this: what false identity are you still wearing? What label are you still accepting that God already canceled? What limitation are you still believing that heaven already broke? Some of those false identities came from people who misunderstood you. Some came from seasons where you failed while learning. Some came from moments where fear spoke louder than faith, but none of them came from God. And anything that did not come from God does not have permission to stay. This is the moment where you consciously lay down every identity that does not align with heaven's truth and step fully into who God says you are. Because here's the deeper reality: your identity determines your capacity. You will never step fully into your purpose while living from a diminished self concept. You cannot carry a kingdom assignment while still seeing yourself as broken, behind, or unqualified. God is not just unveiling your calling, He is upgrading your self understanding. He is restoring how you see yourself so that how you move aligns with what He is releasing. This is why your declaration matters. Words carry authority. When spoken in alignment with truth, they dismantle strongholds that have lived in silence for years. This is why you must say it out loud, not passively, not quietly, but with conviction. When you declare that you renounce every false identity, you are not just speaking, you are severing agreements. You are breaking contracts you did not realize you signed with fear, shame, and limitation. When you say, I am not what they called me, I am not what shame labeled me, I am not what failure defined me, you are closing doors that kept you trapped in preparation. And when you declare, I am who God says I am, chosen, anointed, appointed, you are stepping into alignment with the emergence that is already underway. This is not positive thinking. This is spiritual alignment. This is the moment where your internal narrative catches up with heaven's decree. And once that alignment happens, everything else can follow. Because identity is the foundation, gifts rest on it, assignment flows from it, authority is built on it, and without it, even divine opportunity can feel overwhelming. So receive this truth deeply. Your hiddenness has ended, not because you forced it, but because you are ready. The season of questioning is giving way to clarity. The season of doubt is giving way to authority. The season of concealment is giving way to unveiling. And as you step into the truth of who you really are, you are not becoming someone new. You are returning to who you were always meant to be. This is only the beginning. Identity unveiling is the doorway, not the destination. What comes next will require more of you, but it will also release more through you. And now that you are standing in the truth of who you are, heaven is preparing to activate what you carry. Once your identity begins to settle, something shifts beneath the surface. When you stop questioning who you are, you create space for God to reveal what He placed inside you. Identity is the foundation, but it is not the final destination. Underneath who you are lies what you carry, and what you carry is far more expansive than you realize. This is where the emergence deepens, because God never unveils identity without also activating capacity. What has been dormant is now being stirred, and what has been hidden is preparing to rise. Many people assume that gifts are something you discover later in life, something you develop once opportunity appears. But Scripture reveals a different reality. God plants gifts in you before you ever take your first breath. He embeds ability, insight, creativity, discernment, leadership, and spiritual authority into your spirit long before your environment can influence you. These gifts are not reactions to circumstances, they are intentional deposits. Heaven equipped you in advance for what you were born to confront. And now, at this precise moment, God is activating what He has been patiently preserving. Romans 11:29 declares, "For God's gifts and His calling are irrevocable." That word irrevocable carries immense weight. It means unchangeable. It means not subject to cancellation. It means your mistakes did not erase your gifts. Your detours did not invalidate your calling. Your delays did not disqualify you. Even seasons where you walked away did not cause heaven to walk away from you. The gifts remained. The calling remained. They were not removed, they were reserved. Hidden, yes. Dormant, yes, but never gone. This is where many people misunderstand God's timing. They assume that if a gift is not active, it must not be present. But inactivity does not equal absence. God often delays activation, not because you are unworthy, but because you are valuable. Power released before maturity becomes destructive. Authority given before humility becomes dangerous. Influence granted before wisdom becomes a snare. So God waits. He tests. He shapes. He develops character in obscurity so that when the gift emerges, it does not destroy the vessel carrying it. Think about your life honestly. The resistance you faced was not random. The pressure you endured was not punishment. The setbacks that humbled you were not wasted. They were refining tools. God was teaching you discernment so you would not misuse authority. He was teaching you patience so you would not rush what requires stewardship. He was teaching you humility so that when the gift surfaced, it would glorify Him and not elevate ego. What felt like limitation was actually training. Now, the training has reached a turning point. The same God who hid the gift is now releasing it. And when God activates what has been dormant, the change is unmistakable. You will notice it first on the inside. A new clarity in how you see situations, a boldness in your voice that did not exist before, an authority in your words that carries weight beyond your experience. Ideas will flow without strain. Insight will come without effort. Creativity will feel natural, not forced. This is not something you are manufacturing. It is something being unlocked. You may find yourself speaking into situations you once felt unqualified to address, and your words will land with precision. You may find yourself discerning things others miss, sensing shifts before they happen, understanding patterns with ease. You may find yourself creating, building, teaching, leading, or interceding with a grace that feels both powerful and familiar, as if you are finally moving in alignment with your design. That familiarity is important. Activated gifts do not feel foreign, they feel remembered. They feel like something you always carried but never had permission to use. But there is a responsibility that comes with activation. A gift awakened but not exercised will weaken. Spiritual capacity grows through obedience, not intention. You cannot receive the activation and then retreat into hesitation. You cannot sense the stirring and then remain silent. Heaven activates gifts with the expectation of movement. Faith is proven through action, not awareness. When God says move, delay becomes disobedience, not because God is harsh, but because hesitation can cause what is fragile in its early stages to wither. This is why your participation matters. God activates, but you steward. He releases, but you respond. He opens, but you walk through. The moment you sense what God is awakening in you, you must engage it even if imperfectly, even if you feel unpolished, even if fear whispers that you are not ready. Readiness is not the absence of fear, it is obedience in the presence of it. The gift grows as you use it. Confidence follows movement, not the other way around. This is also why comparison is dangerous in this season. Activated gifts are not measured against others, they are measured against obedience. Your expression will not look like someone else's, and it is not supposed to. God did not copy and paste your calling. He designed it uniquely, shaped by your experiences, refined by your journey, and calibrated to your voice. When you compare, you distort what God is activating. When you honor your own lane, you accelerate. You may be tempted to dismiss what God reveals because it feels too simple or too familiar. Anyone can do this, you might think. But what feels ordinary to you is often extraordinary to others. That is because you are standing inside the gift, not observing it from the outside. Do not minimize what God highlights. Heaven does not activate anything by accident. What He is stirring now is necessary for the assignment ahead. This is the moment where listening becomes critical. When you ask God what gift He has been hiding in you, you must resist the urge to filter the answer. Do not edit it to sound more reasonable. Do not dismiss it because it feels intimidating. Do not doubt it because it stretches you. The first revelation is often the purest one. Write it down, honor it, pray over it, and then act on it in small, faithful ways. Stewardship begins with attention. Understand this as well. Gifts are not always flashy. Some are quiet but powerful. Discernment, wisdom, intercession, leadership, teaching, creativity, healing, strategy, encouragement, administration. Each carries weight in the kingdom. Do not chase visibility, chase faithfulness. God promotes what is stewarded well. When you prove faithful with what is activated in seed form, heaven entrusts more. As gifts activate, you may also notice resistance increase. This is not coincidence. The enemy does not fight what is dormant. He fights what is emerging. He will attempt to distract you, discourage you, or convince you to stay silent. He will suggest you wait for more confirmation, more training, more validation. But clarity often comes through movement. Light increases as you walk forward, not while you stand still. This is where your declaration becomes an anchor. When you say, I receive the activation of every gift God planted in me, and I will steward it with wisdom, you are aligning your will with heaven's release. You are giving God permission to use you, stretch you, and develop you further. And when you say, I will not hide what you are revealing, you are breaking agreement with fear-based invisibility. You are choosing obedience over comfort. Remember, God did not activate gifts in you for personal affirmation. He activated them for impact. What He releases through you is meant to serve others, build His kingdom, and shift environments. The gift is not the destination, it is the tool. And as you faithfully use what is being activated now, you will find that heaven continues to unlock more. Layer by layer, season by season, grace upon grace. This is the progression identity revealed, gifts activated, assignment released. You are moving through it in order. Nothing is rushed, nothing is missing, and nothing has been wasted. The same God who hid you is now unveiling you. The same God who preserved the gift is now activating it. And as you step into what is awakening within you, You are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into alignment. What comes next will require you to carry what has been activated with intention and humility, because activated gifts are preparation for something larger. They are not the end of the story, they are the beginning of purpose in motion. As the activation of your gifts settles into motion, another realization begins to surface, one that shifts everything. Identity revealed tells you who you are. Gifts activated show you what you carry. But now purpose steps forward and answers the question of why it all exists. This is where emergence becomes assignment. This is where preparation turns into responsibility. And this is where heaven begins to move not just in you, but through you in ways that extend far beyond your own life. Purpose is not something you invent, it is something you inherit. Scripture makes this unmistakably clear in Ephesians 2, chapter 10. For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus, to do good works which God prepared in advance for us to do. Notice the order. You were created for the assignment, not the other way around. The work existed before you did. The solution was designed before the problem appeared. Long before you took your first breath, heaven had already mapped out the impact your life would carry. Your assignment was waiting for you, not being discovered by you. This understanding changes how you approach purpose entirely. You are not chasing meaning, you are aligning with it. You are not striving to make something happen, you are stepping into what has already been authorized. And alignment is the key word here. Purpose does not respond to ambition, it responds to surrender. God does not release kingdom assignments to build personal empires. He releases them to extend his rule, reveal his nature, and restore what has been broken. That means your assignment will always be bigger than your comfort, larger than your preferences, and deeper than your personal goals. This is why purpose often feels intimidating. What God assigns will require more than your natural ability. It will stretch your faith, challenge your obedience, and confront your desire for control. Kingdom assignments are not managed, they are stewarded. They demand that you decrease so that God can increase, that you step back so he can step forward, that you release ownership so he can demonstrate authority. This is not loss, this is alignment. And alignment is where power flows freely. When you align with a kingdom assignment, something supernatural begins to happen around you. Provision follows obedience. Doors open without explanation. Resources appear without striving. Connections form without manipulation. You find yourself in rooms you did not qualify for on paper, having conversations you did not plan, receiving opportunities you did not pursue. This is not coincidence. This is heaven backing what it authorized. When God releases an assignment, he commits his resources to it. Isaiah 61 declares, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." This is not future tense. This is not conditional language. This is now. Arise not someday, but now. Shine not when you feel ready, but now. Your light has come, not it is coming. The glory of the Lord is rising upon you, not might rise. This is the season where heaven shifts from preparation to manifestation. What was hidden is now meant to be seen, not for attention, but for illumination. But before you assume this is an easy ascent, you must understand the cost of assignment. Purpose will cost you comfort. Obedience will require decisions that look foolish to people who do not hear what you hear. You will be misunderstood. You will be questioned. You may even be opposed. But opposition is often confirmation that you are moving in the right direction. Resistance does not mean you are wrong. It often means you are effective. Assignment will also demand sacrifice. You will be asked to let go of what is familiar. to release relationships that no longer align, to walk away from environments that once felt safe but now feel restrictive. Purpose exposes the difference between attachment and assignment, and while letting go may feel like loss in the moment, it is actually clearance. God removes what cannot follow you into the next season so that what is meant to accompany you can find you there. Here is the truth that anchors you when the cost feels heavy. Kingdom assignments produce fruit that outlives you. They break cycles that have lasted for generations. They shift atmospheres that have been stagnant for decades. They establish authority where chaos once ruled. What God releases through your obedience will ripple beyond your lifetime. Your assignment is not just about what you do, it is about what continues because you said yes. This is why the question before you is not whether you feel ready, but whether you are willing. Readiness is developed in movement. Courage is built in obedience. Faith grows through action. The assignment emerging now will not wait for perfect conditions or complete clarity. It is unfolding in real time, inviting you to trust God more than your own understanding. And trust is the doorway into acceleration. As you step toward purpose, warfare often intensifies. This is not a sign to retreat, it is a signal to stand firm. Fear will attempt to speak louder as faith rises. Doubt will resurface with familiar arguments. You're not qualified. You've failed before. People will reject you. What if you're wrong? These thoughts are not new and they are not true. They are echoes of an old identity trying to survive in a new season. 2 Timothy 1:7 cuts through the noise with authority. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Fear does not come from God. Hesitation rooted in fear is not wisdom. Doubt that paralyzes obedience is not discernment, it is resistance. And recognizing resistance for what it is prevents it from controlling you. You are not being warned, you are being opposed. This moment is a hinge. What you decide here will shape what unfolds next. You can retreat into comfort and remain in preparation, or you can step forward into purpose and experience acceleration. Heaven responds to agreement. When you say yes, heaven moves suddenly. Isaiah 60:22 promises, I am the Lord. In its time, I will do this swiftly. Swiftly does not mean recklessly, it means decisively. It means without unnecessary delay. It means when alignment is complete, manifestation follows. Sudden doors open, sudden clarity comes, sudden provision appears. What seemed delayed begins to move quickly because the season has shifted. But acceleration requires stewardship. Purpose without preparation leads to pride, and pride always precedes collapse. That is why God hid you first, why He tested you in obscurity, why He developed your character before releasing your calling. The weight of purpose requires a foundation of humility. Stewardship in this season looks practical. It looks like consecration, setting yourself apart intentionally, guarding your mind, watching your words, aligning your habits with your calling. It looks like obedience to instructions you once postponed. Purpose often waits behind delayed obedience. Finishing what God last told you to do unlocks what He wants to do next. Stewardship also looks like guarding your atmosphere. Purpose is sensitive to influence, what you listen to, who you allow access to your thoughts, and what you consume daily either fuels faith or feeds fear. This is not the season for small thinking or diluted vision. Surround yourself with voices that call you higher, not those that normalize limitation. Faith grows in environments that expect God to move. It also looks like service. Kingdom assignments are expressed through love. Serving others refines motive and keeps purpose rooted in humility. As you give encourage and uplift, God expands your capacity. Purpose flows most freely through hands that are open, not clenched. Forgiveness is another essential key. Unforgiveness anchors you to the past and restricts movement. Releasing those who dismissed you, misunderstood you, or wounded you frees you to move without drag. Forgiveness is not approval, it is liberation. And purpose requires freedom. Finally, stewardship means preparation. Faith prepares before it sees. Making room in your schedule, your space, and your priorities signals readiness. Purpose does not squeeze into an overcrowded life, it requires margin. When you prepare, you are declaring trust. You are saying, I believe what God spoke even before I see it. And now, as you stand at the threshold of assignment, this truth anchors everything. You are not stepping into this alone. Heaven is involved. The same God who revealed your identity and activated your gifts is now releasing your purpose with precision. What is emerging is not fragile, it is appointed. What is unfolding is not random, it is written. And what is being asked of you is not impossible, it is empowered. You are not late. You are not behind. You are right on time. The hidden season has done its work. The activation is underway. The assignment is being released. And as you step forward in obedience, you will discover that purpose is not something you carry alone. It is something that carries you. The emergence is not coming. It is happening now. As everything you have heard settles into your spirit, it is important to recognize that moments like this do not happen casually. There are seasons when God speaks encouragement, and there are moments when He issues an invitation that requires a response. This is one of those moments. What you are sensing right now, the mixture of faith rising and fear trying to cling, is not a contradiction. It is confirmation. It is the sound of an old season losing its grip as a new one takes its place. Fear often speaks loudest when purpose is closest. It tries to sound logical, protective, even wise. It reminds you of past failures, unanswered prayers, and unfinished chapters. But fear is not a warning, it is resistance. It is the echo of an identity that no longer has authority. The truth is simple and unshakable. God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Anything that paralyzes obedience does not come from heaven. Anything that convinces you to stay hidden when God is calling you forward is not discernment, it is opposition. This moment is a hinge. What you choose now will shape what unfolds next. You can remain in preparation, rehearsing what might go wrong, or you can step into purpose, trusting the God who has already gone ahead of you. When you say yes, heaven responds not gradually, not cautiously, but suddenly. Doors begin to open without explanation. Clarity replaces confusion. Provision meets obedience, not because you earned it, but because alignment releases acceleration. But emergence is not just about breakthrough, it is about stewardship. God unveils purpose to those He trusts to carry it with humility. That is why consecration matters. That is why obedience matters. That is why guarding your atmosphere, forgiving freely, serving intentionally, and preparing faithfully are not optional. They are essential. Purpose flourishes where integrity leads and surrender remains central. Now, as you stand at the threshold of what God is unveiling, remember this: you are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into alignment. You are not losing safety. You are gaining authority. You are not leaving something behind without reason. You are making room for what heaven has already prepared. The season of hiding has fulfilled its assignment. The season of emergence is now active. Receive it with faith. Steward it with wisdom. Walk in it with courage. What God has begun, He will complete. And what is emerging through your obedience will reach further, last longer, and impact deeper than you can currently see. The hidden has been revealed. The calling has been activated. The purpose has been released. And it is happening now.